Part of that is because he will definitely lob it and, throw a softer pass if that's what's needed in certain situations. And he'll do whatever it takes to get it there. And that 74% accuracy, which was an FBS high, that's legit. That's not because he's, not throwing it away or he's not wanting to throw the Hail Mary or whatever the case may be. That is a legit
look good. They're not going to give up on him too quickly. And that would probably open up a can of worms for them if they start throwing Shedeur in there, even in spot duty right now. So I'm not really feeling that or really seeing it. But I will say this. In practice, Shedeur Sanders has been making a ton of progress. He looks really good. I've been saying this over and over again. If you put Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel side by side or one after the other in a 7-on-7 red zone drill, I think
Shedeur Sanders was never supposed to be the Browns' future until now. Behind closed doors, something startling is happening in Cleveland. The coaching staff is quietly shifting their focus. Locker room whispers are turning into real conversations. And fans who were shouting from the sidelines are suddenly being heard in team meetings. All eyes were supposed to be on Dylan Gabriel, but that spotlight is moving fast. Why? Because Shedeur Sanders isn't just impressing, he's outperforming. Reports from inside the Browns facility say that Shadeur's precision, poise, and presence are forcing the team to rethink everything. The Browns might not say it out loud yet, but the pressure is building. And if rumors are true, his first start could come sooner than anyone expected. So, how did a rookie backup become the team's most talked about player? What exactly is going on behind the scenes in Cleveland? And what does this mean for Dylan Gabriel's future if he even has one? Let's break down the stunning rise of Shedeur Sanders.
Learning her very, very quickly and very well on all of that. The reviews I'm hearing from inside the building are really, really good on Shedeur's progress right now. But I think they still want to give Dylan some time. Now, he's got to make some points out there. He's got to produce and generate some touchdown passes. But for now, I think the status quo will be maintained.
And why this story is far from over. You won't hear it in press conferences, and it's not in the headlines, but something big is brewing behind Cleveland's closed doors. According to multiple insiders, Shedeur Sanders is quietly dominating practice drills, and the coaching staff is taking notice in a major way. The situation? It's more than just buzz. It's a shift. Sources say that during Red Zone 7-on-7 work those quick-fire, high-pressure passing drills where quarterbacks either thrive or fold. Sanders has been consistently outperforming Dylan Gabriel. One insider went as far as saying, put them back to back, and Sanders takes the lead every time. Think about that. This is a rookie QB who wasn't even projected to start this season. And now, he's not just in the conversation, he's changing it. According to Browns beat writer Mary Kay Cabot, the team is watching Shadur closely. His growth in practice hasn't just been steady, it's been explosive. Every week, he looks more confident in the pocket, more accurate under pressure, and more in sync with the playbook. But here's where it gets really interesting. Coaches are reportedly cautious about showing their hand too early. Giving Sanders reps during games, even in spot duty, could ignite a firestorm. Not because he isn't ready, but because once fans and players see what he can do under the lights, there's no going back.
He's got really good vision, and if he sees that a defender has jumped the route or something like that, he can put the right kind of touch and lift it right over a defender into the hands of the receiver in the end zone. I've seen him do it. And I think that is one of the things that he does really well. He can vary his ball speed. He can throw it really fast and hard if he needs to. He can loft it. He can sidearm it. He's got really nice arm talent.
This is where the Browns are stuck. On one hand, Dylan Gabriel was supposed to be the safe choice, a stopgap quarterback who could manage games and avoid big mistakes. But inside the locker room, players are seeing Shedeur sling lasers in tight windows, drop touch passes into the corner of the end zone, and command respect like a seasoned vet. He's doing the things that don't just impress scouts, he's doing the things that turn second stringers into starters, and starters into franchise faces. Even more surprising, the support he's earned from veterans. Reports say he's connecting well with guys like Joe Flacco, who's openly praised the younger QB's intelligence and presence during meetings. When respected vets start backing a backup, you know things are shifting. Still, the coaching staff is walking a tightrope. They want to give Dylan his shot, but they also know pressure like this doesn't come often, and ignoring it could cost them. And this is just the beginning.
And so I do think that he's someone that will get out there sooner than later, be able to see that. But he has a little bit of everything else too, or at least a lot of everything else. He's not extraordinary at anything else necessarily, but he's very, very good at all of the other things.
Because what's happening at practice isn't staying at practice. For the Cleveland Browns, the quarterback position has been a revolving door for years. From failed draft picks to last-minute veterans, the franchise has struggled to find a real leader under center. And right now, it's looking like another chapter in that same story is about to be written unless Shadur Sanders forces a rewrite. Let's not sugarcoat it, the Browns haven't had a stable, high-performing quarterback since… who? Baker Mayfield for a season? Before that? The list spirals quickly. Now, with Dylan Gabriel on deck, fans were promised a system guy. Someone with safe hands, enough mobility, and just enough arm strength to keep the offense moving. But let's call it like it is. Gabriel hasn't lived up to the hype, and he hasn't looked like the guy to break the pattern. According to Mary Kay Cabot and several team insiders, Gabriel's biggest issue isn't just execution, it's accuracy in high-stakes situations. That might sound like a small detail, but in the NFL, one misstep on a 3-RD and goal can cost you the game. Even during Joe Flacco's stint last season, the Browns dealt with this same consistency problem. Flacco might have had the experience, but too many of his throws were off target, either behind receivers or forcing them into traffic. And somehow, Gabriel is heading down that same road, missing the throws that matter, when they matter most. This isn't a new issue, it's a systemic one. The Browns' offense has constantly been derailed by passes that fall short, fade wide, or arrive late. No matter how strong your run game is, if your quarterback can't deliver in the red zone or on third downs, you're stuck spinning tires. That's why Shedur's rise is more than exciting, it's potentially game-changing. Sanders isn't just talented, he's different. His college stats painted a picture 74% completion accuracy isn't a fluke. That wasn't him checking it down every play either. He was throwing ropes, reading defenses, and playing mistake-free ball, all while under national pressure every week. The contrast is glaring. Where Gabriel has struggled to make impact throws under the spotlight, Shadur has already proven he can rise under pressure. He just hasn't gotten his NFL shot yet. Behind the scenes, the Browns are seeing this. The coaching staff knows they've been here before, promising a solution, only to end up watching another quarterback underwhelm by mid-season. And that's why the tension within the organization is growing. Because if Dylan Gabriel doesn't take full control right now, the Browns might be forced to do something they've never successfully done in modern NFL history: hand the keys to a rookie and finally get it right. But that decision only gets harder from here because what separates Shadur Sanders isn't just talent, it's how he uses it. Every now and then, a quarterback walks into the league and makes people go, "Hold on, who is this guy?" That's exactly what's starting to happen with Shadur Sanders, because what sets him apart isn't just physical ability, it's the rare combination of skills, mindset, and awareness that just don't come around often, especially in Cleveland. First off, let's talk precision. Shedur's 74% completion percentage during his college career wasn't some blown-up stat line padded with checkdowns or screen passes. We're talking tight window throws, deep outs, sideline fades, and laser-accurate red zone strikes all under pressure. And it wasn't a fluke either. That accuracy was consistent game after game, against solid defenses, and with a target on his back. Mary Kay Cabot even said it, "That's 74%? That's legit. He's not dinking and dunking. He's throwing real routes, beating coverages, adjusting mid-play. It's the kind of stuff we haven't seen here consistently in years." And then there's his adaptability. Shadur isn't locked into one style. He doesn't just have a big arm, he's got full control over it. If he needs to drill a pass into traffic, he does. But if the read shifts and he sees a linebacker creeping into a lane, he'll pull the ball back mid-throw and lob it with finesse just above the defender's reach. Not something you can teach, that's feel. That's vision. He even has a knack for switching angles. Sidearms, flicks, above the shoulder, releases whatever it takes to keep defenders guessing and throwing lanes open. That kind of improvisational creativity is what separates a standard QB from someone who can carry a franchise. And here's the kicker, he's calm. Not just in the pocket or when he's scrambling. He's calm when the noise is loudest, calm when the media speculates, calm when the fans start demanding snaps. That's rare for any rookie, but especially one with the spotlight Shadur walks around with. Add to that his leadership presence. Insiders say players gravitate to him. Veterans respect him. Even Joe Flacco, someone who's seen every type of quarterback across 2 decades, has reportedly been impressed by Shedur's maturity and confidence. He's not just playing quarterback, he's studying it like a surgeon, breaking down game film obsessively, calling out coverages during scout team reps. He's treating the backup QB role like it's starter training. And the coaching staff is starting to notice. He doesn't just check boxes, he checks boxes people didn't even know they should be looking for. And that's what makes this so complicated for Cleveland. Because if the guy sitting behind Gabriel is already showing traits of a franchise quarterback, how do you keep him off the field? But the real problem? Shadur isn't just outperforming expectations. He's starting to build a following the front office can't afford to ignore. Here's where things get tricky, because this isn't just about football anymore. Shadur Sanders doesn't walk into a room alone. He brings an army with him, both online and in the stands. His rise hasn't just sparked whispers inside the Browns facility, it's caused a tidal wave outside of it. And like it or not, the front office is feeling the weight of that momentum. When the Browns signed Sanders, most labeled it a developmental move, a long-term play, low risk, high upside. But they underestimated one thing: the sheer star power this kid carries with him. We're not just talking about your average fan base here. Shedur's supporters are relentless. They follow his every move, dissect practice clips, flood comment sections, and light up social media every time he throws a pass, especially when Gabriel stumbles. If Dylan has one underwhelming performance, you'll hear about it from Shadur fans in full volume. And this isn't noise the franchise can block out with locker room speeches. This is trending topic pressure. Viral video montages, highlight reels from training camp that rack up 500,000 views before breakfast. Sanders isn't just a rookie QB, he's becoming a brand, and the Browns are now forced to manage the PR shadow that comes with it. Mary Kay Cabot made it clear Sanders supporters aren't just vocal, they're invested. They won't allow their guy to sit quietly on the sidelines if they believe he's being overlooked. And here's where the tension builds. By all accounts, Shadur has done nothing but remain calm, patient, humble. But his fans? They're not waiting. Coaches and execs are now balancing 2 things they never wanted to mix: internal evaluation and public perception. If they start him too early, it looks like they're caving to the noise. But if they wait too long, and Gabriel keeps underperforming, they risk alienating one of the most passionate rising fan bases in the league. It's a media minefield. And this isn't just noise for clicks, the buzz has a real impact. Inside the building, it's sparking conversations. Veterans are watching the headlines. Reporters are circling every pregame presser like vultures. Team morale can shift fast when the crowd outside the stadium is louder than the cheers inside it. The Browns have been here before hyped QBs, backed by fans, only to fumble the transition. But the difference this time is that Sanders is actually the real deal, and that's what makes this entire situation an unpredictable fuse ready to be lit. Cleveland may have brought in a young quarterback, but what they really brought in was a storm. And the next section of the story? It's not about hype, it's about who Shadur Sanders really is behind the curtain. Strip away the hype, the practice buzz, and the pressure from fans, and what's left? That's the question the Browns front office has been asking themselves about Shadur Sanders. What they've found has surprised a lot of people. Because while social media paints him as a rising superstar and training camp highlights show off his raw talent, the story behind the scenes is something even more valuable. He's a leader, not a diva. He listens first, speaks second, and commands respect without demanding it. Mary Kay Cabot's reports over the last few weeks have been clear. The Browns didn't just bring in Sanders for his throwing arm. They brought him in because people inside the league had been talking about his maturity, presence, and it-factor qualities that can't be coached into a person. Veteran players in Cleveland aren't rolling their eyes at the attention Shadur's getting. Quite the opposite. Joe Flacco, who has seen every type of quarterback come and go, has openly praised Sanders for how he carries himself around the locker room. One source said, "He doesn't act like a rookie, he acts like a guy who's been here before." And here's where things start to separate. Sanders from the typical fast-rising rookie quarterback. He's emotionally steady, no panic, no ego. He's aware of the noise around him, how could he not be? But it hasn't changed how he works, how he interacts, or how he prepares. When cameras aren't rolling, teammates say he's often still studying the playbook, watching film, or talking through schemes with coaches. He's not trying to win Instagram, he's actually trying to win games. Even off the field, There's buzz. Sanders has been spotted at off-season events, red carpet appearances, and community gatherings, and by all accounts, he's handled that spotlight with confidence without cockiness. That's rare for someone his age, especially one carrying a famous last name and a fan base as vocal as his. But that's exactly what's turning heads at the executive level, because as much as the Browns want performance on the field, they also want someone who can galvanize a franchise. Someone fans trust, players respect, and media can't ignore for the wrong reasons. In Shadur, they might have finally found that rare balance. Think about it. How many times has Cleveland gambled on a big arm only to end up with locker room meltdowns, media scandals, or burned bridges? This time, they're seeing something cleaner, clearer, sustainable. Talent gets you in the door. But character? That's what gets you the keys. And after everything we've seen, it's not a question of if Shadur gets the start, it's when. And the whispers say, that time might already be here. Let's talk about that. The suspension is building, and the Browns are sitting at the edge of a decision that could change their entire season. One wrong move and it's chaos. One bold move and it's history. So now the big question becomes, when does Shedeur Sanders finally take the field as QB1? Insiders close to the organization say the wheels are already turning. While the front office won't admit it publicly, internal evaluations have quietly shifted over the last few weeks. According to Mary Kay Cabot, the Browns are well aware of what they have with Shadur. The growing belief inside the building is this: he's ready. Not maybe ready. Not next season ready. Right now. So why wait? Because whether fans like it or not, timing in the NFL is everything. And for Cleveland, this is more than just handing a young quarterback the ball. It's about managing the locker room, the fan base, and the pressure all at once. You bench Gabriel too early and you risk looking impatient. You wait too long and you might miss the spark that could flip your entire season around. With Shadur, the Browns have a weapon but use it too soon, and it could backfire. Use it too late, and the season may already be lost. That's why the Dolphins game has become ground zero for speculation. Reports from team sources suggest the Browns have internally marked that week as a potential opportunity for a change, a crossroads between continuing the current plan or fully leaning into the future. And the timing isn't coincidental. The Dolphins are a tough but high-profile opponent, a true test, a chance to announce a new era in bold fashion. But here's the twist: even if it doesn't happen that week, the leash is getting shorter. Any sign of struggle from Gabriel, 2 straight losses, poor red zone execution, back-to-back 3-and-outs, and it'll be almost impossible for the Browns to justify keeping Shadur sidelined. What's most telling isn't just what we're hearing during media availability, it's the silence around the topic. Coaches are avoiding direct answers about rotation plans. Teammates are being careful not to say too much. When things get quiet in Cleveland, it usually means something's already being discussed behind closed doors. And honestly, Shadur hasn't made it easy on Dylan either. While Gabriel has had flashes, he hasn't strung together dominant drives. And with Sanders making waves in every practice, every doubt about Gabriel becomes another reason to hand over the keys. The Browns are walking a tightrope. One side leads to stability, the other to chaos or greatness. But one way or another, the clock is ticking. Next, we dive into what happens after the decision, because when the jersey hits his shoulders and the stadium erupts, everything changes. The moment Shedeur Sanders is named the starter, everything changes. The offense changes. The tone in the locker room shifts. The fans stop hoping and start expecting. And for the first time in a long time, the Cleveland Browns might have something they've been chasing for years: an actual future. But here's the hard truth. Handing over the keys to a rookie quarterback, even one with this kind of upside, is always a gamble. There are no guarantees in the NFL, especially for a team like Cleveland, where momentum is fleeting and media pressure never lets up. The Browns are standing at a crossroads, and they know it. One path sticks with Dylan Gabriel, hoping he finds rhythm through reps and consistency through time. The other path? It unleashes Shedeur Sanders. It leans into excitement, risk, and the very real belief that this kid, young, untested, but undeniably talented, could be different, could be the one. Mary Kay Cabot said it best. They aren't just evaluating arm strength anymore. They're evaluating leadership, timing, adaptability, the full package. And by every internal account, Shadur checks those boxes. But here's what makes this moment so unique. This isn't just about the quarterback. This is about identity. What kind of team does Cleveland want to be? Do they want to play it safe and stick with short yardage passes and play action management? Or do they want to turn the page and start writing a new legacy one with bold throws, real swagger, and a leader with the poise to rise above chaos instead of collapse under it? The Browns have tried safe before. They've tried veterans. They've tried game managers. They've drafted highly and watched those picks flame out. This feels different, but only if they're ready to take the leap. Because let's be real, if Cleveland doesn't start Shadur soon, someone else eventually will. And they'll be the franchise that figures out what the Browns might have missed. So now it's your turn. Should Sanders start against the Dolphins, or is it too soon? Can the Browns survive another season of letting the better QB sit? And what would you do if you were calling the shots in Cleveland's quarterback room? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. The fan base is split. The team is under pressure. But one thing's certain. The clock on Shadur Sanders has already started ticking, and when it hits 0, Cleveland will have to decide. Do they play it safe? Or make the move that could finally change everything?